And when you say you're born with stress, that has implications on how you sit in class, how you, on your physical health? You tell me.
Well, and I think to take the cocaine analogy, which was an excellent analogy, you know, if it was learned very early on that if a child who was born exposed in utero to cocaine was immediately after birth adopted into a supportive home environment, it dramatically reduced the association between the status of being cocaine exposed in utero and having a bad outcome. So the first buffer was the fact that that having a caring, supportive, loving environment in the adoption sense, as opposed to an environment that might be associated by staying in the household of somebody who was, you know, using cocaine while you were in utero, those are two different, you know, completely different worlds. And so I think there are many opportunities to buffer stress. The Chicago project on crime in Chicago neighborhoods 2 decades ago was very instructive on this. And it showed that from the standpoint of crime and delinquency, that whereas crime and delinquency were historically, always have been, associated with poverty at some level, that poverty raises risk for crime and delinquency, that essentially you could wipe out the effect of poverty if you controlled for essentially family factors. That essentially it was family factors that were associated with poverty that were the real culprit in raising that liability to those outcomes. And so I think in some ways we have to be very careful about this idea of, okay, poverty automatically causes these stressors, automatically has this sort of fatalistic, you know, idea that a child can't survive that. I mean, I don't like poverty any better than the next guy, but concentrated poverty, where all of these factors are coming together, in a situation where there are no buffers, as Nancy was saying, is a recipe, you know, for a disaster. And even little kids start to show signs when too much is too much. And that's when we have to really come in and recognize that we have to do the job of rescuing them and their families from that level that's toxic to them.
And there are evidence-based programs that show parents how to parent well. And we know that parental influence is a great mediator in children coping with toxic stress and becoming more resilient as they grow up.